To pay my respect to everybody here, I guess it wouldn't be a black fella sitting around here that doesn't feel like that family feels like in Geraldton. We've all lost, I guess, in this war, in the war, we've all lost. A lot of you people mightn't realise, but we've all gone through this. There wouldn't be a black person alive that hasn't gone through this. My sister was 46 years old, Christmas Eve, and they couldn't be bothered to wake her up in a bed in the jail at Wakehall. No one looked on her, no one gave a fuck about her. But and the next morning, we get a phone call that she's dead. Her 2 children and the whole family. But that's not the first time. It's not the only one. Every day, the war against my people in this country goes on. In the classrooms, in the streets, in the watch houses, in the post offices, in the pubs, in the banks, in the hospitals, everywhere where we're supposed to be serviced and receive a service, we're confronted by profiling and injustice. When we hand over a cheque to a bank teller and it's a cash cheque, the bank teller asks you for identification, asks you to present 3 types of identification. Everybody knows that a cash cheque is a fucking cash cheque. You don't produce, and there's no reason to produce identification. Pure and simple profiling and racism. My son walks to the corner shop. 3 policemen. He's out of jail 1 day. 3 policemen in a white suburb pick him up and handcuff him 5 minutes away from where he's working with me. None of them knew him. No one could say his name, but they arrested him for being a black fella in the wrong place. I walk into the Ascot shopping centre. The white staff, every white fella like there looks at you and says, "What are you doing here?" We walk into any suburb and they ask us and they look at you, "What are you doing here?" We feel it every day. I say to them bastards, I say to them, how many black families did you kill to build your fucking house here in Tedron? How many black families did you kill to build your monumental example of stolen cultural acquisitions in this town? How many families have been killed for your foundations?
That's what they do, they're building empire.
This whole country. And you ask me today, when we see 35,000 people walk across from here to Musgrave Park, led by children. And we look at it, and we we look at it and we wonder, and you wonder, what does that 35,000 achieve? Not once today did I hear anybody talk about West Papua. Not once today did we talk about Geraldton. When we talk about saving a planet, and we talk about the beginnings of saving a planet, it starts with saving our own backyards here. I take nothing away from what those young people were able to achieve today. It was truly something very special to behold. But I have been a soldier all my life. Since I decided that I wasn't going to get hidings off these fellas anymore for nothing. When you hit me, I'll fucking hit you back. Every black fella, when you fucking hit him back. When they walk in the house, you fucking pick up a stick and say to them, stay out. When our men go to jail and your women go to jail, you make sure it's fucking worth it. Don't die for nothing. Don't die for nothing. This war we didn't start. This war we didn't introduce. The inhumane torture that has been portrayed on our people for 250 years, we didn't start. The mental illnesses, the other diseases, all the other trauma that a lot of our people can't cope with, they started. When they destroy our young men and women in jails, we didn't start it. But you don't walk away from it. You meet it with the same strength and venom that they do. As Sister said, make no misunderstanding of the situation that exists between Aboriginal Australia and white Australia. There is a war. The war is on. It is a cold war, and it is fought by malicious, vicious, selfish capitalists invading Anglo-Saxons and Celts that came to this country with one thing in mind, and that is fucking greed. Their greed is what they pursue. The days of bounties, the days of incarceration, the policies of genocide were all designed to create a continent with not one Aboriginal person left. Our population went from well into 3 to 6 million people down to 30 years ago, 130,000 black fellas that are left. 130,000. bodies, our bones are under these buildings, in your suburbs, in your rivers, in your museums, both here and overseas. Your calls for reconciliation are full of bullshit. You can't have reconciliation until you admit and own the genocide that has been committed against the people that were here. Reconciliation comes later. You cannot have treaties until you agree to stop the war. You can't have a treaty till you stop the war. When we talk about, and you talk about, your police force, as Glenda has said, has always been your military arm to commit genocide against the First Nations people in this country. Always being at the coalface of committing harm and persecution and genocide against First Nations people, whether it be in Victoria, whether it be in Tasmania, whether it be in Northern Territory or Western Australia. As Sam said, there is no justice in your law. There is no honour in your law. Forever you will be a nation of thieves. Forever you will be a nation of thieves.
And murderers.
When we look at tonight, and we need to look at where we go, I guess, in terms of the future. Look into our own communities, all you black fellas here, look into our own. Anyone here from the legal service, put your hand up. Anyone here from NAILS, Aboriginal Legal Services, put your hand up. Anyone here from Murray Watch, put your hand up. That's what I'm saying, look at your own. Look at yourself when you're looking what is happening. Every one of our organisations that we built and we entrusted to defend our lives, our homes, our families, have been eroded by gammon black fellas, by bullshit black fellas that are working for the government. The Jackies, the troopers, the trackers, they're not gone. They just paid $100,000 and $400,000 to hunt our people down. Only people that defend our people are us. We defend our people. We defend our neighbours. The only people, when the West Papuans are under attack and they're getting shot, are the black fellas from here that put their hand up and bring the news and defend those people. The non-Aboriginal people that are sitting here and that join, you've got a sense of justice. The other 30,000 people that marched today, they have a sense of justice. What has happened? What's happened is something that is way beyond being a settler, a white fella, or an immigrant. The world is getting so much smaller. Have a look at the drum. Have a look at the media. Have a look at all the programs in the last 3 days. How many Aboriginals do you see on the drum? How many do you see on the other programs? None. How many Pakistanis? How many Indians? How many brown people do you see on? The representation is there. How society denigrates and pursues one minority group is a purpose. And the purpose is by pitting minority groups within our society against one another, the greedy, the Murdochs, the Packer, the Reinhardts succeed. They succeed. The strength to combat the persecution that our people in Geraldton, in Alice Springs, in Cooktown, no, we only went through Christmas when the young fellow was shot in Cooktown 5 times in the guts. We only go through the whole area of distant custody that Sam talked about. How we stop those things is by unifying with other people where we want this system to be able to correct itself or change it. And systems come and go, and people have got to change it. What has happened with the media and the journalists over the last 6 months is nothing short of fascism at its worst. Journalists, and many of you that study to become journalists, the public's responsibility for you to tell them the truth is being eroded every day. And we're getting forced to listen to the fake news that comes out of bullshit NITV, bullshit Murdoch, bullshit Sky News. We have to demand that the federal police and the powers that are being taken onto our people are a direct implementation to erode First Nations people again. To see so many turn up tonight is a credit to yourselves. Is a credit to yourselves. As I said earlier, and at other times people have heard me say, is that we are the most unified people anywhere in this country that are at war with their colonising people. When one of our persons, one of our people, doesn't matter where it is in this country, dies or comes to harm, we all feel it. We all feel it. That's what unifies us. Our struggle, that flag, and the souls that have carried it, that's what keeps us going. Our desire for our children to enjoy justice in their own country is what drives us. You people that are walking past, you people that are over there to get ready to get drunk tonight, or you dressed up in your $100 clothes, ready to get pissed. You are not the bosses, belong to us. 24 million people in this country do not decide the future of 500,000 blackfellas. It don't happen. You're not slave masters. You are thieves. When you came to this country, our people did not know poverty. We didn't understand or comprehend what poverty was. When you talk about equality, when you talk about reconciliation, when you talk about justice, you put those 500,000 people back to a position where they were before you invaded and decided to trust war against them. End the poverty. We weren't born or knew poverty. We have a right to return to that same position of not being in poverty. When you enjoy your drinks tonight, your wine and your food, you remember that those same blokes in the blue uniform that are standing over there with the guns on their hips are the only fucking thing between me and you. When you go home to your towns and your beds at night, you remember those jacks with the guns on their hips are the only fucking thing between me and you. You kill ours, you take our people, you shoot young women. Sooner or later, we're coming for you. I've been a soldier all my fucking life.